us around. There we go, in the right positions. Someone check thine streameth.
Yeah, we are streamething.
In which case, boil up thine pot, take a seat by thine hearth, and enjoy a fine and mighty frothy brew with the journeyman fucking questers. We unfortunately don't have Aiden today, once again, so Richter Weiss will be sort of absent. However, I've got some ideas for how he can not miss out and join at a convenient time when he doth return. Next week, on Friday the 11th, we will be playing instead of the Thursday, as it will be a live session in person where we can physically grab and touch each other's
We can feel each other's bodies under the table.
We can definitely be visceral and tactile with each other.
Everyone's going to be naked from the waist down at that table.
Thigh rubbing will occur.
I'm not sure how exactly we're going to stream it yet, but it might be the case.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
It might be the case that it's just audio form and it goes up later or something like that. But either way,
it's best you don't see what we're doing to each other.
Either way, it will be fun, and we will record it at least audio, I imagine, at the very least. So today, I have written a catch-up. What music do I want? I think
Temple.
I want...
Oh, you've got more options now.
I've paid for the Roll20. And
is that why we've got dark mode now?
And now we've got loads of cool modes, and I managed to put in all the old playlists.
Mood's good.
Plus a load of new songs. I spent all of today fixing it, making new playlists.
Oh, this is going to be nostalgic.
And it means that I have like a ton of memory, and I just put in loads and loads of tokens and loads of stuff, and I had really fun making battle maps, and it was good.
Awesome.
I'm happy for you.
So,
wait, how much was it? Do you want us to chip in for it?
Yeah, I was going to say
that would be great. It was like
obviously
$50 for the whole year. That's it.
That's cheap split between.
Can I give you your currency in the form of rubles?
You can give it to me.
Now investing in rubles was a bad idea, huh?
Yeah.
You can give it to me.
Mike,
in
you
the form
took that
of
obsession
sweet love
with Russia
in
there
person.
far too long.
Let's put on some.
We trade in mead.
Let's put on this.
Or gosnells. Oh, gosnells.
What's this?
Gosnells.
Sweet gosnells.
Yeah, we didn't know it was a
Where are
Russian
they?
subsidiary.
There we go.
And we're now removing our sponsorship.
The figure scuttles its way across the ice-compacted ground. A beautiful, clear, crisp sky of stars, but the figure pays it no mind. Feet black and rigid with cold, it hobbles forward slowly towards the light in the darkness. As it approaches, it drops to all fours, quietly, its rasping breath through sharp, gritted teeth. Two figures are sitting up around a small fire pit, with a spit over. A few more breathing slowly under furs and blankets. The glint of steel bounces off the firelight, and the figure recognizes the danger. But the smell of slowly charring flesh, fat dripping from the meat, it is intoxicating. The figure crouches closer. Rupert, you watch a hunk of meat slowly rotating from your crouched position. What do you do?
I lick my lips and I edge closer
unable to resist the temptation of such a succulently prepared meal.
I'd like you to roll me a stealth check and add 3 to it.
It's a 9.
With the +3.
With the +3.
Mike.
Yes?
Sitting, turning the meat over the open flames in the cold tundra wastes, with your companions sleeping around you. Josh, you are awake as well on the other side of the fire pit. You hear something. You hear something shuffle in the snows behind you. What do you do?
What's to my right?
To your right is your scabbard, lying against the sort of snowdrift that's piled up that you're sitting on.
I'm going to put my left hand on my blade, scrunch a snowball and throw it into the low bushy area where the noise came from.
Turning round and launching this snowball, you can see in the darkness something crouches, breathing heavy. A figure of some kind, but you recognize the stench of Shivra. You hurl this icy ball towards it, but it just hits its sort of a shoulder as it comes forwards closer into the firelight. You can see its face pulled back taut, the skin around the eyes, sort of its eyes gleaming in the firelight. It ches. I'd like you 3 to roll initiative, please.
Oh yeah.
Rupert, you have a +3 as the Shivra. You 2 have +2s as guards.
Ooh.
I got a 13.
Ooh. I got
a
21.
Theo, you're asleep. I'm going to get you to roll initiative, but with disadvantage.
Okay.
I got a 20.
Great. Let me just write this down really quick.
Thank you, Josh.
+3.
A +2.
Guards have +2. Then.
+2. 16.
So Rupert, you got a 20. 15 to 20s?
16.
I got a 21.
Oh, you got a 21.
13.
16. 13. Spinning round and seeing it begin to snarl at you, Josh, from your other position on the other side of the fire, you see your companion turn and throw this snowball, but realizing a hulking Shivra coming in towards the camp. It stands at about 6 feet tall, maybe 6.5. Its thuggish frame bursting with sort of sinew and muscles. The kind of bone and hide that are on it have almost split away, and it just looks like it's looming towards your companion. You are first to react. To your right, like sort of lying just down next to you, is your quiver and bow.
I see the beast in the darkness as but a simple guard, and I immediately reach into the flames of the fire, pulling out a log. I'm going to chuck a log at a burning log at the Shankar, while shouting, "Get back, fiend! Quickly, draw your blades!"
Pulling the log out of the fire and hurling it towards it, roll me an attack. So you have a +2. No, sorry, a +3. To your attack roll.
An 18.
An 18. It flies through the air, almost illuminating the kind of icy wastes all around you, and crashes into the sort of face and neck of the Shivra. Roll me a D4 of fire damage.
3.
Roop, you take 3 points of fire damage. Are you doing anything else on your turn?
that was my action, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Can I pick up my bow?
You certainly can.
And knocking an arrow, and then I'm gonna take a few steps back and take a knee, in a sort of like semi-covered position, if I can, to steady my aim for my next shot.
You steady your aim and look down. So as you grab your bow, the familiar sort of oak longbow in your grasp, and looking down at your chest, you recognise the sigil that sort of appears on your mailed your tabard over your mail, which is like three sort of steaming pools on a sort of blue field.
Nice. Is it oiled? Is my bow oiled?
Your bow is oiled and well kept.
Very good.
As you crouch in position, your friend throwing a snowball forth, and your other companion on the ground beginning to stir and wake as from your shouting, the Shivra lumbers forwards. What are you doing?
I'm gonna lurch sort of jerkingly towards the meat, and anyone that I encounter on the way, I'm just gonna try and like claw and shove out the way.
Okay, make me an attack at Mike.
Okay.
And it is a plus 5 to hit.
So that's 15 total.
A 15. You don't have any weaponry on you, so it's just 1 damage plus 3, so 4 points of damage to you, Mike. As it shoves you to the side, kind of clawing at you, you stumble back, kind of landing down in the snow.
What am I counting down from?
So you guys are counting down from 11.
Oh, fuck.
You're just guards.
Why are they so weak? It's like stamping on a baby.
They're just standard guardmen.
And I'm going to lumber as close to the meat as I can get. I'm going for the meat to snatch it.
You reach out sort of towards the fire where the meat is. Next up, it is Theo. You awake from your slumber, and as you sort of look up, pulling some of the furs off, this hulking monstrosity just is standing over the fire, and you see your friend sort of get flung back into the snow.
I look up, and as I awaken, I give a start, and a little bit of wee comes out. Do I have a dirk by my side?
You sure do.
I draw my dirk, and I just as I get up, I just sort of reactionary just stab it in the foot.
Okay, make me an attack.
I'm imagining when Frodo in the Mines of Moria stabs the ogre in the foot. That's
it's a plus 3.
Not how much. That's a 10.
That's a 10. You stab down into it, but you feel a sort of clawed, long fingernailed hand catch your wrist where the dirk is, as Rupert, you stare down, knocking it away.
And with that, I imagine he shuffles backwards, scurrying away.
You begin shuffling away from it. You could take a reactionary attack of opportunity if you wish, Rupert.
Yeah. He's actually going to grab the meat that's skewered, and he's going to try and stab. He's going to try and stab the soldier with it. For a 6 plus 5, was it? So 11.
An 11.
Oh, I guess you have advantage because I'm prone.
Technically, yes. Yes, you do.
Oh, that's an 18.
And 18 hits. These guys have chain on. They don't have. Those that have shields will be 16. Those without 14. So yes, that does hit. So you can roll me. Oh, it's just straight 4 points of damage. So you take 4 points of damage from as it kind of claws as you.
No, don't I get stabbed? I'm getting stabbed with the spit.
It's the spit. I'm using the spit as an improvised weapon.
In which case, it's a D4.
D4 plus a D4 meat damage.
It's just roll the D4
it's
plus
hot.
3.
It's hot meat.
Yeah, surely it does less damage because it's self-cauterizing.
That's 2 points.
Okay, so you actually took 5 points of damage there, Theo.
And it gets him in the belly.
Literally half
and
your health.
A bit of gut comes out.
Okay, it is now Mike getting up from your position as you were flung across the camp. You see it stabbing down onto your friend. Oh, he coughs blood out. The meat sort of mingling with the blood.
How many attacks do I have?
You just have one.
Okay. I'm guessing I can stand behind the beast.
You certainly can.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and hack at his Achilles tendons. So even if it doesn't kill him, it brings him down to the floor. So my friend can hopefully roll away or some shit.
Okay, yeah, make me an attack roll.
Oh, fuck. What's it, plus 2?
Plus 3.
3.
3.
Oh, that's only an 8.
Oh, jeez, you guys rolling bad. You run up with
No, wait. I'm opposite Theo, right?
You're flanking, so you can have advantage.
Yeah.
I did move away. I did say I moved away, didn't I? Because you got an attack of opportunity.
Oh, you got
Don't say
speared.
that.
You're speared in spot.
Oh, okay, I see, yeah.
That's a third. That rolled as a 13, so 16.
A 16 hits. You bring your sword down across the Achilles tendons of the Shivra. You hear it cry out in pain. As one of its legs, its thick legs, you've split the tendons and they kind of pull apart. Roll for damage.
How much is that?
Well, what are you wielding? What sort of sword are you wielding?
Bastard sword, two-handed.
Okay, 2d6.
Rupert, if you may, please.
Oh shit! Yeah. I'll eat my words.
I knew I was right to ask someone.
That's 7.
7
Plus your
plus
3?
no, it's just plus
2.
1.
Oh.
7 plus 1. So that's still 8 points of damage. So Roop, you've taken 11.
Nice.
You
How am I
slice
feeling?
across. In fact, with that amount of damage, you just lop the foot right off as it stumbles down onto its stump. You actually didn't even get the Achilles. You got it sort of half shin way up, in the middle of the shin, and just brought it at an angle down through.
What would happen if I tried to move through his space now? Would it knock him down?
You can't move through his space.
No, that's fair. That's fine.
Okay, ending your turn. It is back to the top of the round. Josh, you kneel down watching this all happen.
Yeah.
One of your friends being pinned down, the other lopping the leg of the Shivra off as it kneels.
As I take a knee, I level my bow, giving myself that extra stability and that extra moment to take the aim required. And as the guard cuts off the leg of the Shankar, and as it reels up, I take my shot and try and aim for the soft underbelly of the rib cage to try and get at its organs.
Its organs! Get its organs!
Get his fucking organs!
Its organs! Oh, that's what am I plus? 3.
You're plus 3, yeah.
Oh, it's a 19.
That's a
Fuck
19.
yeah!
That hits. Roll down.
Where you were
What's
fighting,
the-
does that make it crit?
No. Is it a D8 as a longbow, right?
D8, yeah.
Doing 2 plus whatever.
Plus 1. So 3 points of damage. You skewer it straight in sort of the heart area, and you watch as it claws sort of at its chest. It falls sort of down to its knees, but it is still kind of twitching as it reaches down towards the meat. Rupert, it's your go. You're on 1 hit point.
Oh, damn it.
Okay,
15
I'm gonna. I haven't taken the arrow to the chest. I'm just gonna turn around to guard Mike,
Yes.
and I just sling an arm, just using the weight of my bulbous, malformed fist to try and smash him around the face.
No!
Make the attack.
That's a natural 18 again.
Jeez, you've been smashing these rolls. So that's
Just what?
4 points. Four more
points.
points of damage. You're not dead, but you've taken a
No.
shit ton. You slap him right across the face with your meaty fist, and you hear a crack of your jaw breaking up here somewhere, like your teeth sort of cracking together. You tumble back into the snow.
I'll then try and just like limply crawl away, like holding the skewered meat in my hand.
Okay, it is Theo, your turn, lying on the ground with the skewer, the spit through your stomach.
Like seeing this creature like escaping and having smashed Mike in the kisser. He'll just throw his dirk, trying to get a shot at it.
Go for it.
Okay, let's go. Okay. Is it +3?
It's +3.
A 16.
A 16 hits. And with that, how does the dirk finish it off? It's like it's only got 1 hit point. So, how do you finish Rupert the Shiverer off?
I imagine it's not like he's not really a knife throwing kind of guy, this guard, but he kind of gets lucky with it, and it kind of just it doesn't like hit him in the back of the head like expertly. It kind of actually just sticks up his butt, like in the buttock area, like where. But it hits the spinal column, which is the sort of killing blow.
Like in the coccyx,
sweet spot.
Like
Yeah.
Right
It goes like between his cheeks and then into the coccyx, which obviously then severs the spine.
Yeah.
You tumble to the ground, Rupert, face first into the snow, beginning to bleed out. And as you all slowly get up from the ground, near knocking on death's door, you hear a noise. You hear a many teeth chattering, and you hear more scrabbling. And as you peer off across the open wastes, you see more coming. 3, 4, 10, 20,
Run.
50.
I scream into the blackness of the forest. No one takes our meat!
Eats it aggressively as we run away.
Grabbing that hunk of anonymous meat, you begin running in the opposite direction. And that is where we end the catch-up.
Do you know what? Really, really excited now because having just one attack felt really important.
You're like, oh my god.
That felt so fucking real.
Maybe we should play a game where we just got shitty guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the reminder of what it's like to be level 1.
I wanted a little bit of that. So, we find ourselves in the later hours of the day in Angmiri. You've just been to see Waylon, and you're exiting the Mirial. You've done some various chores, and eventually you all meet up back at the hedge quarters for a meal that is going to be prepared. As you arrive at the hedge quarters, do you just go straight in, Ruthus, or like how are you approaching? You knocking? What are you doing?
Yeah, we approach the front door, but before we go in, we do the special knock on the door that only us and Nathea know, just to alert him that it's us.
A few moments later, the door opens, and Nathea standing quite shocked. You see, Nathea has indeed aged. He's probably in his 60s by this point, but he still holds himself in a good posture. But he seems to almost be falling more into his butler sort of stereotype. His sort of goatee is neatly combed and sort of like waxed down, so it's kind of smooth. His short hair sort of cropped back, and his neat sort of not noble attire, but sort of yeoman, his yeoman sort of attire. He looks towards you almost in slight shock, and then falls back into his stance. Gypsies, of fortune, it's good to see you again. Why don't I fix us a drink?
I forgot that we hadn't seen him yet. Rufus greets him by grabbing his arm and bringing their hands together, and gives him a knowing nod, accompanied by a soft chuckle. Oh, Nathea, I hope you got those provisions that we asked for.
Yes, my lord, I certainly did, but some of them were put to other use. I could, in terms of the perishables, I could certainly find some alternatives. If the plans are still the same.
We're certainly going to need many provisions, for we shall feast tonight, Nathea. We have much catching up to do.
Well, haven't had to feed many people, so...
Nathea, don't worry about produce. Just lay the table.
Right you are. No, okay. Now, I'll get us some drinks. And he begins to sort of wander off. The table is set. Drinks are brought out. And eventually, some guests begin to arrive. Jin and Arabella, as well as King and your brother Yunin, as well as Anchor and Silas, and Gaze makes an appearance.
As Nathea brings out the drinks, Rufus is going to get up from his seat, and he's going to go over to Nathea, and he's going to take the tray from his hands and say, Nathea, tonight you are our guest. Please make yourself comfortable.
Roll me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
That's a 19.
He takes the tray back. I'm afraid not, Lord Mayor, but it takes some more persuading than that, I'm afraid. I'm set in my ways, and this is my duty, and has been my duty for, well, most of my life. This is what I do well. I shan't have my lord serving me. It is not befitting.
You always were the stubborn one, Nathea. Very well.
He places a hand sort of on your upper arm here. I do appreciate it, though. It's good to see you, old friend. But please take a seat, my lord. And
I guess I have to respect my elders now.
He sort of chuckles a little, and begins giving people their goblets of drink. Zook, what are you preparing?
So, Zook is going to float over to Dutch and just grab the bag of holding off him. Say, Dutch, if I may.
Yeah, of course. Untie it from my belt loop and pass it over.
Or the bag with holding, should I say?
Yeah, you've got to give it a little tickle, otherwise it'll fucking bite you.
Yeah, I'll like tear up like a napkin and just like stroke it on the back and say, now I need something from you, and I want you to be good. Treats do not come to those that bite the hand off their feet. I'm
is
looking
it that body we put in there?
That is in there. Make an animal handling check.
Okay. It's a... it's a 17.
It opens its mouth, and from it you pull
a gem-encrusted bowl.
Very good.
That we received. And I put the bowl on the table. And as I place it there, I look up at the ceiling and go, oh, these... In theory, you've done a wonderful job with the place, but these vine hangings that are over the chandelier don't look particularly in a good way. And he like spreads his hand out and uses druidcraft to kind of make the vine hangings really like flourish in like a rich green, with even some small white flowers like appearing across the ceiling. That's better. Right, and then as he puts down the gem-encrusted bowl, he pours some water in. He gets some ash and like dusts it into the bowl. And as the ash swells into the water, he places Cinder sort of on the side of the bowl, and Cinder just kind of starts heating it up as the elements kind of fuse together and become kind of start to bubble and smoke. And suddenly smoke is just pouring out of this bowl, and actually it becomes really hazy in the room, so thick that it's hard to see. Everyone's eyes kind of squint as it's like that when smoke gets in your eyes and it stings. And as you open your eyes and the smoke clears, a banquet of immense proportions lays upon the table. The best gooseberry and partridge that money could buy in Soul Reach. A steaming hot, like almost bath-shaped, bath-sized tub of pumpkin soup. Sort of these like braised sort of root vegetables all across the table, little picking fruits, wheels of cheese just like dotted about, many different kinds, and it's got you straight salivating, I'll tell you that. So we have a hero's feast.
Nice.
Is there any in particular RP or conversation that you want to have this evening with some of the Destiny's Child, Fate's Children?
As we're feasting, and we've eaten maybe our first or fifth course of cheese, Rufus will look towards the what are they called? The Children of Fate.
Destiny's Child.
Fate's Children.
Destiny's Children. So you must tell us how this began, how this young group of adventurers came to be one. Was there a defining tale, a defining victory?
Oh, jeez. Yunin sort of scratches the back of his white hair. Well, Fleet's really the one who's good at telling these tales. But I do remember that, well, I came slightly later. You already knew each other quite well at that point, but we hadn't become a group. And Jin sort of butts in. Yeah, and I guess we were just sort of finding our way, and when the War of the Great Lakes happened, obviously we were called into action, being mighty fine shots and all, and with unfounded abilities, we were put to good use. We tended to stick together as sort of people of a certain age from the same town. Sort of eventually started making a bit of a name for ourselves. What was it? And they begin sort of telling a tale of taking down what they describe as this gigantic Shivra creature that was about 20 feet tall, like a giant size. Flesh almost like tent fabric around its face and like over its whole body. Sort of half chained and being pulled by other Shivra, and they were the ones to sort of take it out during one of the larger battles by the lake's edge.
You don't say. That is a monstrous sight. I can only imagine. Is it the only such beast that you've seen, or are there more like that?
Rethguard has told us from her reconnaissance there are more of those creatures, yes, indeed, across the plateau. Large Shivra, built for pushing various siege towers or or machines of war about. I assume they have been created for a purpose.
Something we might find ourselves face to face with in the morning, perhaps. How did you bring it down? What was it that finally slew the beast?
I believe it was a mere joint effort of a bit of luck and a bit of foolhardiness and a lot of eroding it over time. There was just flesh and more of it until eventually it could not stand or withhold its own weight anymore and crashed to the ground, still bubbling and spitting all the while. It wasn't until Fleet cut its head from its body that it ceased to move.
Sometimes the simplest ways are the answer. Sheer brute force.
Silas sort of holds her mouth a little. Do we have to talk about this during mealtime? Sort of
No, of course not. Looking around at the others for points of conversation.
I imagine sort of just having casual conversation as the meal progresses, sort of just in our cups, so to speak, having our own like sort of conversations. I've got a few people I'd like to speak to throughout the evening, but I'm happy to sort of like let other people say their piece and whatnot.
Oh, go for it.
At one point, Draug takes Yunin to one side, or like goes and sits next to him, or like where they can have a bit more of a private conversation. And he just sort of strikes up a bit of small talk, but eventually gets to his point. And he produces a letter that he's written. I don't know what will face us on the morrow, but I understand it could be potentially deadly for some of us. I have a favor to ask if I don't make it out alive, and you do, if that's okay.
Of course, brother, but we'll be fine.
Yes, it's just an eventuality. Anyway, if you have, if that does come to pass,
it's okay, brother. You not need.
I imagine we have to find some way to met them previously, since we last did ourselves.
Are you there, Theo? You cut out.
You're frozen.
Oh no.
No.
It's a very pensive
I'll
image.
take over
It's
for
a
my
real
brother.
Draug moment.
What I was trying to say is, brother, that I love you, and I don't really hate you that much, but I always loved Dutch more. He's a kinder soul. He's a better man than us all, really. Dutch is such a nice motherfucker.
Right. While this conversation's going on, does anyone else want to have another one? And we can come back to Theo when he rejoins.
Is Elgrin is Elgrin there?
No, Elgrin and Fleet aren't in attendance.
Okay.
They said they wouldn't be able to make it.
I'm back.
Hello.
Hello.
What? Who is the letter for?
It's for Temerity. You mentioned you'd seen them in more recent times.
Right. Yes, I could probably contact him. But after all this, why don't we take a trip together and find him? Dutch can come too.
I'd like that very much.
Maybe we can find some of the others. Father did talk that there were more than just us.
Well, I mean, I'll have to put my mind to doing something once after all this is over. Listen, myself and Dutch, we've had a hard life. And I know you've had your fair share of trials as well. But truth be told, I don't really know what I'm going to do once all of this is over. Something tells me, I don't know, perhaps I'm just feeling overwhelmed by the current situation.
I mean, it is overwhelming.
Tomorrow will not be without loss, I'm sure. I don't intend for those of you who are at the beginning of your journey to, well, I don't mean to bring the mood down. Please, have you got something to drink?
Yes, no, I do. Something that has been troubling me, brother, is that you always spoke of this contract that you held, this bargain with one of the devil twins.
I believe the contract will be nullified if the devil in question, Malik, is slain. Until that point, I cannot lay a hand upon him.
Well, I will in your stead. And he kind of looks around, people talking around. I know that anyone here would gladly put a knife in that devil on your behalf.
I know Dutch is got a personal vendetta against him for what he has done to myself and tried to do to Richter as well. But believe you me, I'll be going after his brother twice as hard.
He clinks his glass against yours.
I'll drink to that.
Swig.
Zook, during the meal, he gets a little roasted tomato and pops it in his mouth. Spills a bit, ooh, mate. And he kind of turns and floats around the table and goes to sit next to Dutch. And he kind of taps him on the shoulder and is like, "Are you enjoying your food? I hope there's enough substantial food."
I'm enjoying being back, Zook.
Is it strange for you, as it is for me? Just everything.
All of this?
Yeah, everything. Seeing children become adults in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. But then again, we've seen a dragon twice.
No, that's true.
We've been to the Fae. We've done everything, Zook.
It's not.
Nothing should be a surprise anymore. We've seen other dimensions, demons, fucking...
Yeah, but there's something more to this. It's life, it's experiences. We've seen some wild things. But that's like growing up, it's coming of age. And it made me think about you and about how you and your brother, of course, will always be brothers, but you have a past. You had a people. I, as someone that was deeply rooted in a community, I find it very hard to let you not want to explore that. And as the Archdruid of Air, the winds go miles and miles, and maybe you'll never know where your tribe was. But what I'm saying is, would you like me to find them?
After all this?
Well, of course, there's more pressing issues, but
yeah,
if we make it out.
I would love that, but do you know what I'd like everyone's help with first?
Do speak.
Look, the first revenge we need. We go back to the peaks, visit the orcs, pay our respects, you distract them, I nick the sword, and we fucking bust Kofin out, and then get him out the sword, that fucking werewolf cunt, and then we string him up by his fucking gizzards and have a big party, and yeah, it'll be good.
That is, I'd like to say I didn't expect that, but to be honest, that's exactly what I thought you might say. And I'd be willing to oblige. But the offer still stands.
Yeah, well, there's always after.
Aye. Please do let me know. The skies are far and wide, and I plan to soar through them for many a year to come.
Oh, it would be a pleasure to do it with you, Zook, obviously.
I'll raise a tiny glass of sherry.
I'll raise someone else's drink, because I finished mine. What do you think, though? Ex-mayor?
Sorry, what?
What do you think about it all after this?
After we come back?
Yeah. You're not going to retire, are you?
I've already retired from being mayor, from being a public figure. To be honest, I've grown a taste for the road. I enjoy traveling around this beautiful land, and all the things we've done makes me feel proud that I've made a difference in so many people's lives in a hands-on way, you know, something you couldn't do behind a desk, you know, part of a government. So perhaps I'll keep doing that.
So, do you want to get Kofin out of sword?
Yes, I would like that. He needs help. Who knows what Frank has done to him inside that sword all this time?
Whatever Frank's done to... Mate, it's Kofin. Like, he's going to fucking put hexes and curses. He's going to be all strung up. Kofin will be having a great time. Mogak's in there too. She'll be slapping him around like a fucking dickhead he is.
Maybe he won't want us to take him out. Maybe he
we can
likes
put him back in then.
True. But it would be good to see that old bastard again.
I must say, Rufus, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch you become the man that you've become this day. Someone tried to tell me that this foolhardy gnome that sits at this table right now was the man that I initially met. I wouldn't have believed him.
Especially because I'm not a man anymore.
I mean, that is part of it, but it's more than that. Your connection to High Canopy has changed you, made you wiser. And also more witty, which is the thing that I appreciate the most, I think. You... Some of the things you've said over the last few months, they've done more than make me smile. They've really warmed my heart. And, I mean, look at the state of me. That's fucking hard to do.
Well, I suppose as a leader, you need to keep your men's morale high at times in trying times. And if I can do so with a unsuccessful speech, then so be it. But all of you addressing the group, you have all come far. I'm proud to stand beside you, and I will be once more tomorrow on the plateau. I feel that there is nothing that we cannot face, no foe we cannot bring to its knees. We will be victorious tomorrow. I know this.
I'll drink to that.
They raise their glasses. Cheer, cheer, cheer. Oh, actually, we're steering up a bit. They raise their glasses high above and raise a toast to the victory upon the morrow and to the future and things that you'll do after this when it's all over.
Right. I suggest you kids all go get an early night or whatever, have a nap.
Oh, there's business to be taken care of first. Rufus, would you mind? And all are welcome to come, but there will be a service, a congregation of sorts, to initiate Rufus into the way of the forest.
I almost forgot. Lead the way. Please come, everyone, if you wish to participate or to be in the audience.
Everyone stands. Nathir sort of steps forwards. I may make a request of you, my lord.
Of course you may.
I too would like to accompany you. Just for the...
Well, by all means. I just invited you anyway, so come along. Grab your cloak.
Will it be cold? We have winter equipment if we need it.
Not tonight, I shouldn't imagine.
Very well. You all exit, heading towards a nearby tree.
Yes, I'll head up to the oak tree. But I think we want to sort of walk past the oak tree, have a look at it, but actually head into the grove, if possible.
Okay, yeah, you continue through the Bellwood further into the until you eventually arrive at the grove.
Anything new?
The grove, yes, of course. The grove is much the same. 19 years for a tree is a trifle amount, especially when one is so old as some of the trees here. But it is well maintained. It is not overgrown. The grove sits still in the same ring. But there now is a meandering path of sort of fresh, ferny grass that leads you through towards it. You can see hanging in the branches and boughs of the trees more ribbons and pieces of paper, like the oak tree outside of the Bellwood has all over it. And looking closer at those ribbons, you can see written on them are little notes, little wishes, little sayings, and all sorts of things. You imagine from the town, the people of Elmiri, perhaps blessings, or perhaps wishes for the future, or good tidings for others, or things that they want to come to pass in the coming years, etc. And it's extremely heartwarming. Each ribbon tells a small tale, whomever had placed it there. And there seems to be a great respect in this specific area for the wood itself. As you walk along this meandering path, there are like houses dotted about within the woods themselves that sort of eventually fade off. But you can see and hear the laughter of what sounds like families within some of these houses. And as you get to the grove, the kind of canopy where it's parted above you, tall, the moonlight is now sort of seeping in, and your hut, unchanged, lies in the centre. A small steam bit of smoke coming from its funny little chimney out the side.
Luke's gonna lead everyone through the grove, and looking around, he kind of takes a deep breath, and just kind of kneels down and just like literally just puts his face on the ground, and he just takes a big like I never thought I'd miss something after 2 days. But there you go. Things have changed. It's beautiful. Hasn't been a long time, but it is beautiful. He kind of looks to the piece of paper and takes a slight satisfaction at semi-starting a cult. He's kind of okay with that. And he's going to float to the hut. Just have a little poke his head in the hut.
As you float towards it, you see the grove around begins to sort of breathe and move. And you recognize some of the stirring faces, of Choke and Maple and old Willow and Twiglet. The faces, the guardians of the grove, stand there.
It's good to see you've stuck around.
You can see Choke has now rooted into the ground. No longer is he sort of running about, but instead has found his spot within the grove and is staying there.
Nice.
They sort of close their eyes and go back to sleep.
Right. So Zook is going to loop back around and say, right, let's find the right one. A beech. That looks about right. So he floats over to this beech tree, and he's going to move his staff, cast Tree Stride, and he wants to open another gate to like the top of High Canopy and to come out into the basin of the canopy.
Transport via plants.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling it open before you, the smell wafts through the tree, and you can smell the kind of flora and sort of almost rich, earthy scents of High Canopy. You all begin heading on through. Let me put some... This is what we can do now with cool new stuff.
More ambiance.
Yeah.
This ambience is pretty great, though.
I like the cows in the background. Yeah. It's really nice.
Yes. Late night jungle.
So as we emerge into this vast craterous tree top, a cacophony of birdsong and squawks and the smell of guano and bird shit, it's like mind-boggling. As you come out, and there is just a sea of different birds, parrots, pigeons, gulls, crows, ravens. Every single one you could even imagine is just roosted in the tree and is screeching. And as we walk down into the center of the grove, I guide you there, and raise my hand.
Zook, as you do, with your extreme high passive perception, you notice a figure sitting up in the boughs of the tree above you.
Is it colossal?
It isn't. It is humanoid size. And as you look up, you can see a figure, a human, a humanoid shape, but with sort of hoofed feet at the bottom and antlers, sort of antlers about this long, growing out from either side of the head, sort of slightly pointed elvish ears. Beautiful sort of red and dark auburn hair that sort of curls back in a slight sort of mullet, and they wear just sort of leafy leathers as they sit up in the boughs. You catch their eyes as they look down towards you, large, oval-like eyes, and you recognize this person.
Is it a wood elf?
No, it's not. It's not a creature you've seen before. But you recognize them.
You're familiar. Who are you, stranger?
A voice in Sylvan calls out, I am the hearth and the flame. Who are you, stranger?
Well, I am the thunder and the gale.
Hopping off the bow, they drop down through, and with a sort of slight sizzle and crack, land hoofs on the ground, and slowly stand up. You see they are tall, very slender but tall. A good 8 feet they stand high above you. They're sort of almost deer-like legs and hoofed feet and antlers, but very beautiful. You must be Zook in common.
You know me. Of course, the others, they must have told you. Are you the new chosen?
I am Theander.
Theander? You're not Theazes.
The very same. Archdruid of Fire. It's nice to finally meet you.
This is all, of course, the baby. Your parents, are they well?
Yes, well, I would know if they weren't, as I am sure you would too. Mother is downstairs somewhere, but father is, well, father is where he goes. He is fighting. I imagine wherever your path takes you, Thunder.
I'm glad to know that there's at least 2 archdruids in the tree. We can't afford to lose more. You must tell me how did you come to become the hearth and the flame and the ember?
Well, my parents say that I was born for it, but I don't know. I didn't always want it. It just happened.
And now, will you stay?
Of course.
This is your calling?
Of course. It is. And I want you to know that I am different. I am not the same as he who stood before me. I've been raised better and taught better.
Zook's going to float forwards so he can kind of get close enough. And he's going to sort of slowly reach out and like touch his chest. Yes, I'm sure you've had the best upbringing.
As you touch his chest, cinder coils down over your arm and immediately begins sort of working his way up and around. Whoa. Hello. He picks cinder up before him. Who's this?
This is Cinder. You'll probably get on very well. And Zook his tears start streaming down his face. It's probably the right time, but I think he's yours now. We had fun together, but the wind incites the flames. It burns further than he can imagine, and he is a small child. It was wonderful to see, but together it would be too dangerous, too powerful. But you are made of the same thing, and I believe that he should stay with you.
He's perfect. you see Cinder turns around in his hands, unfazed, his skin unfazed by the touch of Cinder. Cinder sort of, his face going all dewy and sort of teary, looking up towards you, kind of begins coming back and sort of nuzzling into the leather, the hardened leather where he usually is.
I kind of pet him, and I just kind of conjure a tiny little miniature whirlwind and just like flick it round him so his flames spiral upwards. It was an honor to meet you, Cinder, and I hope that you find your home one day and return to where you belong, just as many of us have. And take him off and go. See it. What was his name again? The fire druid?
Oh shit! I just said it.
Theanor?
No.
Theander.
Thank you.
Theander, please take him, raise him, and one day return him to the fire plane if you can.
I will. Thank you.
Well, it's good to have you here to observe, because young sprites like you have to learn from the old dogs, as it were. So pay attention. You may want to make notes on a bit of bark or something, because we're about to perform a ritual. Nice. Now, Gypsies, I'd like you to not hold yourselves on ceremony for this. It is a sincere occasion, but please do anything you feel. Let the winds change your actions. Dance if you want. Take off your clothes if you want. Throw leaves into the air. Scream, howl into the wind. Do whatever you feel you need to. But Rufus, you must stay still. And Zook lifts his hands in the air, and 4 pillars, 4 little sconces of twisted bark rise up, with one topped with white moss, one with brown moss, one with blue moss, and one with like an orange moss. And he goes around lighting each in turn. Rufus, if you will, please be seated. And a small stool kind of rises from high canopy for you to sit down. You may need to take off your top. Where would you be marked? What part of your body?
I was just going to say, Rufus would have, in that first introduction, he's going to take off all of his armor and anything like metal on him, because it doesn't feel appropriate at this point. Leave that all down at the side. So he's just in his trousers. Where shall I be marked?
Yes, there will be a sigil, a marking of your dedication on your body. I'd like you to choose where you'd like it.
Very well. Then place it right here over the heart.
An excellent choice.
'Tis the place where it began beating once more.
Beautiful. We may need a different seat, and the bench, the stool becomes a long bench of twisted gnarled roots. Please lie down. As you lie down, the smoke from the moss starts to fill your lungs, and the colours around become brighter. The squawks become almost indistinct, strange sounds of different animals start merging with them, and even voices. Not anything sinister, but definitely something like conversations off on the wind. Zook gets out a small yellow bowl of ochre, and he burns some of it and sort of pulverizes it. And he gets out a bamboo stick and he starts tattooing your chest. And as he tattoos the chest, the birds flock louder. He raises a hand. Oh no, hang on. So he, as he's tattooing your chest, basically he emblazons a red sun, like a sort of crimson sun, and all of the sun rays coming off it are sort of twist into leaf-like shapes. and in the middle there's just a crown of antlers twisted around in a circle in the center of it. And this goes on for an hour. And Gypsies, you can sort of do whatever you like during this hour to get involved, or whatever you might feel like doing. Don't know what that might be.
I imagine sort of feeling awkward and out of place, Dylan. He takes on his hybrid transformation and removes a few items of clothing, so he's more animalistic and more akin to the nature of the location and the ritual. And he's still himself, and he feels uncomfortable with this sort of more religious situation, but he'll pace and he'll sort of try and steady his breathing and become in tune with sort of the natural surroundings, and sort of sort of get in touch with his more animalistic side, that side that does dwell within him.
Lots of birds flutter down to you, and fearful but curious, they start to sort of flutter about. And smaller insects kind of like buzz around you, and it feels peaceful, but there's definitely a kind of oneness that you feel with all of these different creatures. Dutch, what would you like to do?
Seeing what's happening,
Jump off the tree.
after spending some time with the orcs up in the peaks, ceremonies were done like this, but they usually included something else. He's going to reach into a pouch that's actually between his skin, and it's on the inside of his gown and his belt, and he's going to pull out a few dried mushrooms, pop them in his mouth, take off his top, and start dancing.
Yes.
Excellent. Oh man, fucking hell. So good.
The rest of the entourage with you sort of watch on, some getting more involved than others. And Thea just stands looking around in absolute awe. He even goes over to sort of towards the edge and like catches himself looking down like, like it's so high. He's just like looking around like, what in the fuck? And King is just like bouncing around like trying to chase the birds.
Oh, this is great.
So as the smoke begins to burn longer, the smell is sweet and earthy, and the colours become richer, brighter, and Rufus feels a pulse, much like a heartbeat. And as Zook comes to the end of the tattooing, he takes Rufus's hand and he stands. And at that moment, all goes quiet. The birds hush, and there is absolute silence. And as Zook opens his mouth, thousands of voices around as the beaks of 1,000 birds open and say the same thing. Rufus Suncrest, do you swear to act as guardian to the cycle and to preserve life and lead those that live on their path towards death?
In Sylvan, Rufus says, yes, I swear it.
And do you promise to watch in the twilight for the signs of the greed of man, to hold the scales of the world in your hands and restore them to balance with all that you are?
And again, he says, yes, I swear it.
And do you vow to be the last beacon of light in the long night, to show the truth of the morning, even to sacrifice yourself so that the creatures of this world will see the dawn?
And once more he says, yes, I swear it.
Zook gives you a knowing nod and says, then rise and breathe in your first breaths as a keeper of the tree, as the first light that banishes fear and phantoms, as Fios Madain, the knowing dawn. As he says this, you look down and you notice a new etching in a language that you kind of recognize as Zook has been using as Druidic, which is almost a purely written language, very sort of angular, twisting, much like a tree's bark. And he says, "There is your name." He turns to the birds and in his own voice, "Go, brothers and sisters of the skies, to every corner of the forest and every raging sea where the waves break upon the cliffs, to the peaks where the winds howl upon high and the valleys carved by the sacred rivers. Spread word to every crow, gull, rat and rabbit, boar and badger, to every seal," he turns and looks at you, "and squirrel, that calls these places home. They have a new protector, and his name is Rufus Suncrest." And with that, the birds take off, and they've spread out. And before long, the cacophony of birdsong is back, but sinking into the distant horizon.
Rufus looks towards Zook, and with his expression is it's stern, but it's proud. He's overwhelmed, and he says, "You've honored me. You have honored me with this position, this recognition, if you will. I will do you proud."
You've earned it. It belongs to you. And I mean, it's a big place. It needs all the help it can get. We've had some tough times in the past few years in the ASC, and so, it's not just an honor; it's a responsibility as well.
This place will never be corrupted again, like it was.
The tendrils.
I believe that.
The tendrils from the bench where you were lying recede back down into the tree. You see those same sort of sprouts slowly move away. And you feel a deeper connection with the tree than you have felt before.
As part of that, I cast ceremony. Specifically, the ceremony was dedication, which allows you to, for the next 24 hours, anytime you make a saving throw, you roll a d4 and you get to add it to the saving throw.
That's it.
As your dedication to the tree.
Everyone may have an inspiration point. That was epicness. That and the feast in the hedge quarters as well.
I'll say goodbye to Cinder and Theander. Just basically say good luck to Theander and look after Belenkander, and I'll bring his father home, and then I'll take us back to Umiri.
Upon heading back to Umiri, are you bedding down for the night? For a final
I
rest
imagine so.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as we bed down for the night, would it be okay if we had a tea break?
Yeah, we can have a
Ooh.
quick 5-minute tea break.
I just really want to grab a cup of tea.
Yeah, let's
You
do
know?
it.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of things before bed, but I'm happy to have a break and then
Yeah. Let's do a little 5
Sort
of
minute
wrap up.
break.
Let's get a quick brew.
Just-
Oh,
couple of
this
minutes.
is
Thank you
a
very
bit
much.
emotion. What the fuck?
You
Sweet
pause the
hearing that.
music
This is a bit much.
as well. It's
This
like
is a bit
everything
much.
culminating.
Tashi, is it paused?
No, it's on. It's
Oh.
gonna stay on.
That's fair.
My heart is beating slowly and vigorously.
I really don't want it to end. Now that
we'll come back
I was
to
excited
this.
for the new campaign, and now that we're actually at the end, I'm a bit sad.
Feels weird. It's been so
Yeah.
many years.
So- I'm so scared that Dutch is going to die now, and then I don't get that peace in knowing that he's still out there just adventuring somewhere. You know?
I like a story that never ends. It's just
But
Yeah.
I mean, what a battle between like 4 gods that are vying for Dutch's soul. The ones
Oh,
you've
yeah.
spoken to.
Right, I'm gonna make a tea, and then
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah, same.
I'll be
get
back.
to the battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you two.
Well, emotional times. Dinner's in the chat for anyone who's there. Dinner's in the chat. Oh, it's getting real super emotional. I was like,
are you actually?
Yeah, you know when you watch a film and you're like, whoa, I'm like welling up. You're not, you're not like letting it out, but you're like,
yeah.
Whoa, fuck! It's like behind my face, like it's all there. I was like, ugh.
You know what? I've been meaning to say that actually about Vox Machina when I was watching it. I had that so many times, and I was like, why am I getting emotional about this?
Because
they're just on an adventure.
It's because it's
and
D&D.
I was like, it's so D. I mean, it's D&D, and it's the stuff that we've been doing, and it's because ours is coming to an end as well.
Yeah, I got super emotion in Vox Machina as well. It tugged on your heartstrings. When have you guys all?
Whoa.
Okay, yeah.
I've been watching Helsing, and that's been tugging on something else.
Nice.
Decided to go for a. Yeah, I thought the time was right for a little alcohol pop.
I'll bring them all with me, and I can give them all back to you.
Wait, where is he? There he is.
As the mementos.
I've got a nice coffee.
Yeah, I've still got the Dutch and the Dylan and the Kofin and the Ruthless mug. Although
we need to bring Kofin back.
I think you've got yours. Don't know if I have it.
I don't know. Must do.
Didn't yours go? I swear we've had this before with Josh's one, haven't we?
Maybe I have it. I might have it. I have everyone else's, but Zook has his. They're even more sentimental to me, those mugs, because I made them with Ralph.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which feels really nuts.
Yeah.
He's the pottery guy that I used to do pottery with that had a heart attack.
Oh shit! I'm really sorry, dude.
Like 2-3 years ago. It's quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's still not easy though, is it? It's still shit.
So yeah, all of the stuff that I made out of that pottery is like extra special.
Yeah. Oh, I'll cover it. I'll put it on a fucking out the way place.
Okay.
Shelf of honor.
So for 6 depravity points, you can get another chariot.
No,
which
we're not getting into this. You're ruining the special moments that happen.
No, I just want hard numbers. Give me hard numbers, no emotion.
I want to build a chariot list because I think they look fun.
So you all have the benefits.
Like a bull egg to
you
paint.
all have the benefits of a hero's feast. So Rupert, do you want to roll the
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
hit points?
But of course.
Temporary
that
hit
do?
points.
Where's my D?
Roll well, friend.
You are immune to fear.
I'm going to roll it in the pot.
Immune to fear, and
Is it actually?
Mhm. And you gain.
Yeah.
You gain like 3d8 temporary hit
Oh,
points
okay.
or something like that.
It's good to everyone gets 12.
Whoa.
No, your hit point maximum increases by 12.
Oh wow!
So
you
So
can
gain
You can get
12
healed
hit
up
points.
that essentially for 24 hours.
Awesome. And immune to fear and anything else?
And charmed.
And charm.
I believe.
That's going to be useful.
That's very good.
Well,
Poison,
say?
poison as well. I think you have resistance to poison.
Oh, okay.
Come on, 148 hit points. Let's go.
I'm on the same.
Are you?
Hey,
Yes.
The exact same.
Nice.
That's mad. So, Dylan, you wanted to do a couple things before bed?
Yeah, so sort of like just before getting back to the headquarters, he's going to take Dutch to one side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hello.
What? Well, that... huh?
Would you like some mushrooms?
You're
It makes sense now. Sorry, you looked at me like you kind of hated me for a second there.
No.
No, you're just tripping balls. Right?
It's just you
You're
keep
tripping balls, right?
The birds are coming out of your nose.
Well,
It's not aggressive, it's just intrusive.
how long's it been since we were up in the tree?
Like 15 mins, 20 mins?
Okay, well, I'm just thinking, am I still a werewolf?
You would be.
Well, do you think you could, pull it together just for a few minutes?
Yeah.
I want to give you something.
Good.
When we were last in Miri, I had something made for you. I mean, it was 20 years ago now in their time, but it was a few days for us. But so I sort of like take out from underneath my shirt this pendant that I've always worn, which you know to be his mother's pendant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything could happen tomorrow. I just want you to know that, I love all these crazy fuckers, but you're my favorite crazy fucker.
Day one, crazy fucker.
Exactly. Day one. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, this life wouldn't have been really worth it without you there. Just so you know, even though we don't share blood, doesn't mean a fucking thing. And he takes out of his pocket. It's a similar pendant, but it's got a shorter chain. And I just take your right hand and put it around your wrist. So it's like a little sort of like charm around your wrist. I thought it was only fitting that, you wear it on the hand that you punch it with the most. So, every time you hit something,
yeah.
Well, I'll be there with you no matter what happens.
Oh, thanks, brother. I didn't get you anything, so I just give him a really big hug.
You didn't need to. It's fine.
Christmas with the Greys.
And if that is everything, then have a long rest.
I was going to... Sorry, one more.
No, you can do one
more thing. Sort of in the... Being sort of caught up in the whole sort of rush of the strange events of the last few hours, the last day, he thinks back to... Drow thinks back to the Fae and realizes that he kind of forgot to do something. Or at least he forgot about something. His mind goes to Ook. I imagine as he leaves Dutch, he heads outside just for a moment, and he tries sort of summoning Ook to him.
You stand outside for a while, concentrating on that connection and that bond that you have. And you watch as something appears. Small at first, and then begins to grow larger as it kind of unfurls itself from feathers. And you see before you Ook, but large, in his Fae form.
And he goes up to Ook and he sort of just takes her hand and puts it sort of to the side of his head.
Kind of like nuzzles it in. He is so soft and big enough to ride.
I thought you might not be coming back. This time I thought you were home, but fuck, you've helped me out in many tight spots, and I'm pleased you'll be there for me and my friends tomorrow and the days that follow. Of course, I'll understand if you need to go then. It's not your true home. I've got something for you. And he just he has at some point he's managed to snare a rabbit and he just throws it up into his beak, and I imagine he's gulps it down greedily.
He just does that bird thing where it fully just eats the whole thing whole.
It's butt beak.
Yeah.
And with that, he sort of gets a crazy idea and he swings onto his back and sort of sees what happens, see if he takes flight.
The owl lurches up and then begins to soar over the rooftops of Ingmiri and around the Crimson Keep, spiraling across, and you can see it sprawling out beneath you, the twinkling lights around the river cutting through the valley. And it is beautiful, and it is home. Eventually coming back down to the hedge quarters, you hop off of Ook, and you watch as Ook kind of begins folding down and becoming the smaller owl once more. essentially, as an action, concentrating on Ook, he can change between his true larger form or his smaller form.
Nice.
And he kind of hops onto your shoulder in his normal spot as you head into the headquarters.
That's that.
You may all have a long rest and heal. And upon the morrow, you shall be going to war.
No.
Let's fucking go.
That's what I always. That's like classic fantasy battle music. That's what always goes into my head.
Many of these
Just
trees
a
were my
question. What is our
friends.
total overall level?
Total overall level.
You guys,
Collective
you guys
level.
17.
are 17 right now. It's the wrong. It says the wrong thing on the stream because I haven't updated it. But you know what.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure our proficiency bonus is 5 then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not 6.
Yeah.
Well, it would be 6
It should
if
be
you
6.
hadn't of.
Yeah.
If any of us have multi-classed.
No,
proficiency is
proficiency is
irrespective
different.
of level choices. So you are 16th level overall. So you have a proficiency.
17th.
17th level overall. So you have the proficiency of a 17th level character.
Which is plus 6.
Plus
isn't it?
6.
Yeah.
Plus 6, yeah.
Yes.
That changes everything.
Proficiency cares not for multi-classing, whereas things that you gain access to
Ability
in
score.
levels like ability score, spell slots, they all do depend on like extra attack. All of those depend on the actual class.
My grapple is a 16.
Let's go.
No, it's double proficiency. It's 12 plus 5. It's 17.
Right, you
Oh
awake,
God.
feeling refreshed in the morning. And as you come downstairs, you see that Elgrin and Fleet are sitting having some kind of breakfast that Nathir has prepared in the headquarters. I imagine, Zook, you probably come down first. Elgrin sort of stands, but Fleet is just continuing to eat what looks to be some like sausage and eggs. He looks tired, like there are bags under his face, and there's even a bit of blood on some of the armor or the cloak, dried.
You've been fighting. I wish you told us.
You need your rest. He doesn't even turn, he's just continuing to eat.
You're not the same person you were all those years ago, Fleet.
Well,
You've become...
it's been 19 years, Zook.
I understand that. It's just shocking. And impressive. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing. What...
Well, is there anything we can do for you before we go?
He just sort of turns. Morning to you all. It wasn't the best night on the plateau. A small Shivra force detachment managed to get through some of our defenses. We didn't expect them to be attacking on the eve of battle, but clearly they know our plans better than we anticipated. And they seem to be looking for something, or someone, or a group of someones. He sort of gestures towards you all. They obviously know that you are here, or you have returned from the Fae.
Could they know that?
He shrugs. Magic, I assume. Elgrin, and Elgrin sort of steps forwards. Yes, there are many potential ways that they could be watching, even now.
That they've been scrying upon us, especially since we relinquished ourselves of those amulets. I know that was 20 years for them, but it was a matter of days for us.
You have to assume they're watching the whole time and act accordingly.
We've been caught up in the events of the last few hours, and we haven't been careful.
Well, we'll be careful from now on. Come. He pushes his plate away. Thank you, Nithir. He sort of nods towards it. Yes, of course, Lord Mayor. Thank you. Prepare yourselves. Elgrin will take us to the plateau immediately.
Okay.
I'm ready. How fare you, friends?
We are prepared.
As much as we'll ever be.
Richter sort of wakes and comes downstairs too, kind of rubbing his head a little. Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you all. And eating some quick breakfast, or even taking a piece of cheese and bread with you. Elgrin and Fleet escort you out through the town, and almost ceremoniously up to the oak tree on the Bellwood Hill. Elgrin closes his eyes, putting a hand forwards, and tears the tree apart as you all push your way through and out into the freezing cold. It looks lovely.
Oh, let's see it then.
New coat. No, she doesn't want to be on stream. It's really nice. Unsure, I think. Okay.
Ooh, feels colder.
Indeed. You step out into the icy cold and into the midst of a vast battle camp. Banners flap in the blistering wind. Soldiers of various factions move through the well-maintained icy paths between rows upon rows of tents. Pot fires can be seen scattered amongst camps. Men and women at arms huddle around them for warmth. A few wooden towers provide small shelter for the watchers. The tree you came through looks like it has seen better days, clinging to a small patch of frozen earth. Bare branches save for a few red leaves and a gnarled trunk. Elgrin places a hand to it, and it seems to provide it with some warmth or respite. Fleet turns to you all. Welcome to the plateau. Take a look around. These men and women and others will be fighting for what is right. Fighting Bren, or the Shadow Lich, whomever he is. You see a sort of wooden stretcher go past with what looks to be a couple wounded people heading towards a larger sort of medic tent, or healing tent. You notice that sort of within the tent, Elgrin immediately says, "Oh, I'll be right back," and heads off towards the sort of medic tent, which looks to be sort of set up with druidic-looking people sort of heading in and out. Come. It's not snowing, but interestingly raining, as it is sort of summertime. Even though the plateaus are frozen, the water coming down seems to be kind of wet and slick above the frozen earth. He pulls his hood up and begins heading through the camps. You can see various banners of different factions. You see, you can see the sigil of Umiri with the kind of new sigil with the green leaf the sun and the key. You also see what looks to be a banner for the church of the twins of antlers and the double-bladed axe. You see a banner of Dawn's Blade, the sort of crescent sun above the horizon with the sword. You see a few Varamarkian banners. You see that of the Foal, the Ymir, and the Stein. You also see the banner of the Glinting province of the Suncrests. There are some more sort of smaller banners that you don't particularly recognise. You do see one that looks to be sort of more square, flapping limply with what appears to be some kind of crown and sort of anvil, like a crown resting upon an anvil, which some of you recognise as the sigil of the royalty of Thaldaral. The bright moon with the eagle's wings of Bryn Shander is there as well, and you even see a tattered banner that looks to have a sort of red painted broken tree stump on it, which Dutch you recognise as the Orcs of the Peaks.
Sick.
It would seem that Fleet is heading towards some kind of larger tent in the centre of one of the camp areas, and you all follow along. Pushing into this sort of large tent, it's quite lavishly set up inside with some furs, some tables, and in the centre a sort of large, thick oaken table with what appear to be sort of a couple maps sort of spread out on there, but it doesn't appear to be much, and there's no one in there other than a couple of guards that flanked the entranceway. You can use this tent as yours for now. He sort of rolls a couple of the maps up, which look to just be like maps of Varamark and the area. There will be a war council before we march, but I don't think for a few hours hence. Take some more rest, and when the war council comes, we shall discuss what will be done. It is good to have you all here again. He looks stressed, and kind of his brow is furrowed, but he turns and heads back out into the rain.
Kind of. What did? Sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, I sort of put a hand on Rufus's shoulder and just sort of like do like a sort of a knowing glance between him and his nephew, and sort of like, yeah, just sort of trying to encourage maybe Rufus to offer some support, like, knowing that he's a fine tactician, perhaps better than his nephew.
They went out of the tent, didn't they?
Fleet gets to the sort of door of the tent and turns just before he exits and turns and says, I know you want this fight, and I appreciate you being here for it, but please stay here in this tent for now.
Fleet, if we can be of help, then please let us. Do not take the burden all by yourself. We are here and we are capable of helping.
You will provide help when the time comes, but I must see to some matters. Do not leave this tent.
I'd like to sort of try and delve deeper into his sort of psyche, like sort of analysing him in that moment, sort of see if there's anything that is going to give away.
Okay, yeah, make me an insight check.
23.
With a 23.
Yeah, 23.
You can tell that he appears very stressed. He doesn't appear like he's had much sleep. And yes, indeed, it very much feels like he's carrying a lot of burdens, a lot of weight. He's in his late 30s, sure, but you know, you can imagine that sort of having to suddenly step up quite early into his grandmother's shoes, and having a mother that clearly isn't particularly or wasn't that present, at least in the earlier stages of life, and you're not sure how present she is currently. You think perhaps that's taken a toll. But the thing that you sense the most and probably smell the most is fear. You can smell the fear that he has.
He looks weary now.
Closes the tent and leaves.
As he leaves, I'll just sort of turn to Rufus. He's scared, Rufus.
I see.
I know that this is his war, so to speak. And we know little, but it worries me that he has told us few things. We could help him.
We could, but seems like it would be hard to convince him to let us. Perhaps we should do it anyway, without asking. Not to undermine his authority here. What did we get a look at anyone else around the camp as we came in? Like, what does the morale look like? What people seeming?
I think, like, at a glance, as you walked through, the morale seemed a little shook. People were still, you know, moving around, but people look cold. People look like they'd been here for probably quite a long time. You'd guess the morale wasn't particularly great, but you only saw really the sort of the men of Umiri. Well, sorry, not the men, the people of Umiri, and that's the kind of area of the battle camp that you are in currently.
Yeah. What's in the tent? It's just like an empty tent with a table on it.
It looks to be a tent where maybe some planning had taken place. It's quite large. There's some like furs, some chests, a couple of tables set up and chairs. There's what looks to be like a goblet and flagon with perhaps some kind of drink in it. There's some sort of food wrapped up as well on the side. He just told you to wait here for a few hours until the meeting.
Yeah. Rufus goes over to the table and then gestures to the others. Gypsies, come over here, gather round.
And gather.
We have but a few hours before Fleet wishes us to meet again. And I don't know about you, but the mood outside in this camp seems pretty low, pretty dire, if you ask me. I say we do what we can to raise the morale here. What do you think?
What could we do, Lord Mayor? Says Richter.
Whatever you feel's best. We can each go off in a separate direction. Zook, you could go to the healer's tent, help them out there. As can you, Richter, if you want. You have a small amount. I don't know. Whatever you can.
You'll leave, Rufus. I would visit the church. And those that fight here. Try and gauge better of this situation.
Indeed. Fleet obviously has a lot of burdens on his shoulders and that he can't deal with, but he won't admit that, not in front of his men. Indeed, Dylan, see the church. Dutch, see the orcs of the peaks. Speak with them.
I do not want to cause him unnecessary worry. We should
Just
try and
just
avoid
tell
his
them.
guards.
I would
Indeed.
ask that I know that Fleet wishes us to stay here, but I would wish to see my sister and the others of Dawn's Blade, says Richter.
Indeed. I would say that you'd be surprised what a kind word, an encouraging word from someone who looks well and rested and strong can do to a man or a woman that seems broken by the prospect of what's to come.
Unless we forget, even with these fucking young upstarts knocking about, we're still the fucking gypsies.
That's
We
right.
haven't run into anything we can't fucking handle.
Indeed, and hopefully at least some people here will not have forgotten that. We should use our presence to its benefit.
And people are here because of us. These are the friends we made over the years. But I think, Rufus, you could certainly rally the folks, and I might have a little trick up my sleeve to up the morale of everyone.
Rufus looks at Richter. Richter, the people out there are cold and wet. We can both use Presti to instantly cure them of that. You'd be surprised what a not being cold and damp can do.
But that might take a while. There looks to be hundreds of them.
Rufus,
Just whoever you see.
surely not. The people of Soulreach have forgotten the individual who returned to the city and broke the chains of commerce there. I feel if you visited them, you might be able to rise their spirits somehow.
Perhaps 20 years is a long time, though. Hopefully, anyone around would have been young.
Perhaps you've become legend. Who knows?
Maybe. I'm sure we probably all have in our own ways. The only way we'll find out is getting out there. So, shall we? We've got
In
couple of
turn, I
hours.
go round and touch each of the gypsies, and the shadows begin to cling to them, and if they slip into a sort of a more shaded corner, they become nigh on impossible to see. You've all got shadow cast upon you, and
Nice.
so basically people have disadvantage to see you when you're hiding.
That's amazing.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yes.
Sly.
Before you go, if you are approached by a fleet and he's angry, send him to me. I will speak to him.
Of course.
Okay.
Always up to you to get us out of trouble.
Who is exiting?
I'm fucking
Yes.
listening.
We're all going.
We're all going. You can't fucking stop us with a bit of fabric.
All right.
You
We don't listen to authority.
Dutch, you pull the tent flap back, and you look to the sides, and you see the two guards standing there, who look down, sort of towards you. Come
Hello,
out,
chap.
mate.
Yeah, bit of an issue. There's nowhere to shit in here. So unless you want it to get ruined, better let me out.
Roll a persuasion check.
Can I, as I'm trying to do this, just try and squeeze one out like a... Oh, it's, is this persuasion?
It is persuasion,
That's-
yeah.
What is
First
that?
time someone
Perception.
used farts in
Add your
persuasion.
just add your charisma. Oh, so I got an 11.
He turns. I'm sorry, but we're under strict orders to not let you out of this tent.
I'm not shitting it. I'm not shitting in front of my fucking... I'm not shitting in front of my brother. I'm just going to start getting out of the tent.
The spears kind of come down and block you. I'm sorry, but we are under strict orders. You must understand. You've got to stay in that tent. If you need to use the lavatories, or the latrine, there is actually, you'll find a pail and bucket at the end of the tent. Plenty room.
Joe, I don't like you.
Otherwise, you just walk into the pits. It's much more privacy in there.
What do you mean, the pits?
Well, the latrines are just the pits on the outskirts of the camp. And you're not allowed to leave this tent. Trust me.
Right, 1 sec. I'm going to shut the tent. Right, they said we're not allowed to go out.
As Dutch has been doing this, I've just taken the Death's rapier and I've just cut a slit at the back of the tent, and I'm just like, I'm just leaving as he.
Okay, roll me a stealth check.
Yeah.
In fact, everyone roll me a stealth check.
Pass without trace if we're leaving.
Aha.
Yeah. As I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna Can I see that they've started to leave as I've been talking to the guards?
As you look back in, you can see that they're like stepping out the back.
I'll put my hands back. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cause an inconvenience. I understand you're just following orders. It's the guy at the top. It's not you at the end of the day. I'm sorry, and I'm going to look behind me. Are they gone yet?
At this point, they're all out. Yeah.
Yes, but you've been amazing. Thank you very much. Here's a couple of gold. I throw it out the door and I just run out the back of the tent.
Roll me a stealth check.
Is this plus 10 and thing? Yeah.
Plus 10 and stealth.
So, okay, so I've got so it's 6 plus 8. So I've got an 8 and I rolled a 12 plus a 10, so a 30?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a 30.
I got an 18. 18.
What's the thing you just gave us, Theo?
So disadvantage to be seen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I got a 20 for my stuff.
Draug?
40.
Jesus.
That's just double a crit.
You all exit through the slit in the back of the tent, seemingly unseen. Where are you all heading? Are you all splitting up?
Going to the Orcs, isn't it?
Okay.
I'm sticking with Rufus.
Dutch to the Orcs, Dylan to the church, Richter to the
Order of Dawn's Blade,
and Rufus and Zook to Suncrest.
Yeah, to the Glinting.
To the Glinting province, Glinting Kingdoms area. We will go first then with Dutch. Not like creeping fully around, but more sort of, maybe pulling your kind of feathers and leathers up around you. Oh, I imagine everyone's wearing over the top of their armor Nathir's like winter clothes. Essentially, you're all wearing like sort of thick fur-lined cloaks that kind of cover you, extra sort of fur-lined boots, and sort of gloves as well, some like nice leather gloves.
Sweet.
You pull that up sort of around you and sort of begin heading off through towards the direction of the orcs. Upon arriving, you can see towards, in fact, it takes you a fair bit because it's towards the edge of the camp. They seem to have set up camp a little ways out from the kind of main area of the rest of the sort of the army camps, and instead seemingly in good spirits. As you approach, a large bonfire can be seen sort of burning in the middle, and you see a few of the orcs kind of walking around it in some kind of ritualistic way. A few sitting, chiseling what look to be sort of bone sort of weapons, things that they've brought with them. It's not just like the warriors of the clan either. It seems like the whole, or at least most of the orcs from the peaks themselves have like migrated here. They've moved. You don't see any children, but there's plenty of them. There's at least maybe 50, 60 individuals. Some don't look like fighters, but are like carrying wooden buckets of water. Some look like they've dug through the ice, and they're like trying to like sort of fish or do something. As you approach, you can see sitting on a log by the fire, a gnarled staff in one hand. You recognize the familiar form of the one-eyed, One Eye of Grumsh. You approach, and some of them kind of turn, seeing you, but just kind of nodding, allowing you entry into the camp.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sit by the fire.
You sit down sort of near her, and without looking up, she seemingly acknowledges you. And in Orcish, the one returns with farsight. It has been time. What say you?
How's it been? 20 years. The war. How fare the people?
Much the same. Praise be Grumsh.
Praise be Luthic.
You will not find much of Luthic here. She gestures out towards the sort of... You can see out over the open expanse where you are now, outside of the main camp. And faintly in the distance, you can see the mountain sort of peaks, far sort of you can work out in the northern direction. To the south, it also just stretches as far as the horizon. She sort of gestures and points towards where those distant mountains are. That is where he leads us. Grumsh desires the fight there. It is where the blood will be shed, and the glory for our kind will be won. What say you?
I say I don't need Grumsh to put violence and fury in my blood. What I do need, however, is Luthic, sometimes to protect and guide.
Maybe. But Luthic guards the home. She protects.
Have you not brought your home with you?
Wise words. Come. Take some. She pulls a bowl over and hands it to you. Some kind of broth.
Yeah, fuck yeah, nice hot broth. I mean, thank you.
You sit and begin taking some broth. She begins sort of chanting a prayer of some kind. She seems pleased. While you're there, Dylan, you head to the Church of the High Hunt's camp. As you approach, you can see two sort of large stakes set up in the entranceway leading into where all the other tents are. The kind of banner of I always forget the name, Balinor. Balinor?
Yeah.
Yes. The god of the hunt. The banner, the sigil of the sort of horned, antlered beast, but then with the church's double-bladed axe, the axe of Balinor. You see two guards standing at the ready. One of them, as your kind of cloak is up, are you approaching, like, approaching, or are you sneaking? I mean, you can sneak,
I'm approaching,
but like be. Like,
yeah, I've got my face hidden, but as I come closer, I'll throw back my hood as I get to the guards.
The spear is like lowered towards you as you begin to approach. Even within the camp, there seems to be some kind of like hostility between groups. And as you pull the hood back, you hear a sort of chuckle. And you sense a familiar figure, although maybe slightly more portly, more weighted to the ground. Well, I didn't expect to see you here. And you feel an embrace around you of Hammond as he takes you.
Is he one of the guards?
He's one of the guards guarding the entrance to the camp. You look
still,
well.
I see you're still on guard duty, it seems.
Yes, well, I take time between here and also over the tree. Did you know that the tree, that Elgrin took one of the seeds from the tree and planted it here?
Really? That's I presume that's the tree I saw when we came through.
That is right. It is sacred. It is known. It is known. Come. Inside. And he kind of takes you around the arm and drags you in. You head towards what you can sense is a sort of larger tent. There seems to be quite a few members of the church. You can see or feel them standing up from fireplaces, from their sitting positions, and sort of watching you silently as you're led through the camp. A good maybe 80 strong. The flap of the main tent is pushed back, and you're hit with the smell of sort of a kind of deep, earthy, sort of musty smell, and very warm on the inside. You feel the blaze of probably a long fire or some kind of like long cooking fire. And you hear a couple of voices. It is troubling indeed, but I think upon the morrow. It's not upon the morrow, sorry. I think the plans laid out, we have a shot. Who is this in our midst, Hammond? You hear the familiar voice of Aureus himself.
I see your numbers are well bolstered, Aureus.
I see that you stand alone, Draug. How fare your comrades?
My comrades fare well. We are here to play our part, at least.
And
how fares you?
As are we. The church fares well.
And with that, Draug sort of lets a smile crack his lips, and he'll quicken his pace and go in for an embrace.
Aureus sort of meets you as well and embraces you in a sort of a very gentle but firm sort of fatherly embrace. He even sort of gives you a sort of smack on the cheeks on the cheek with his sort of big minotaur lips.
I apologize for leaving you for so long.
It's okay. That one, the child from, well, not the child
Jin.
anymore. No, no, not Jin. Elgrin. He knew,
Elgrin?
He knew you would return, and he knew when.
Ah, yes.
He has the sight, the foresight.
It seems that myself and my friends have been replaced somewhat.
Ha!
I must say, I'm happy to be relieved of the burden, especially of that one that lay upon my shoulders regarding the church.
Destiny is a strange thing. And indeed the wall. My time of guarding it is no longer required as well, and that burden has been lifted. It is not me that has to watch on it. Jin claimed the bow, the demon bow. There was a trial in which those following in your footsteps the winds blowing in from the east. A wolf at their head arrived, and they conquered what was lay beyond the wall. Monstrous things. But he holds the power now. He holds that which is dark.
I'm happy yet sad for him, for I know what it is like to have to bear such a burden. And I'll sort of like gesture to my eyes.
He came to us after that and spent time here. He is much like you in some ways, but not the same. He will do good to heed your guidance now that you are back. You have much wisdom to share with him. Oh, but where are my manners? You have some catching up to do. And he sort of moves back. And you sense another presence nearby.
Rans?
So, it really is you.
You see Draug, he shakes a little, and there's clearly a sort of strike of grief passing through him, for he knows that strong feelings have passed, shared between him and this individual, and he's deeply, deeply saddened to have left them for 20 years in their time.
You feel her,
I'm sorry.
her kind of cool skin and of her hand touch the side of your face.
They are a man, but
I always say, I always do.
yeah.
I only got to see you for such a short time before you were gone again.
Your feelings for me, are they the same?
Perhaps they could be.
Do I sense that there's still the same love there, despite it being such a long...
Roll me an insight check.
It's a 17. I did roll a natural one, but...
It's a natural 1 plus 16.
No, it's it goes to 10 because of the rogue ability, but I don't know, you obviously can treat it. Yeah.
I will say that a natural 1 is a natural 1, and
yeah,
maybe you're overcome with sort of fresh emotion. Yeah. You just have to take her words at face value.
I'll reach out and
perhaps after all this,
take a hand.
Anything could happen
over the next day, the next several days. I do not know if we make it through this. And I just, from my pocket, I take out a ring, and I just sort of slowly just place it into the palm of their hand.
What is this?
I do not know if your feelings still remain for me. Then I hope that we could marry. It might be that one of us might die over the next few hours. And I know that I do not want a big show of it, but perhaps I know that Aureus could ordain it.
She cuts you off with a small kiss, but folds the coin back into your hand. Give it to me after all this.
I understand.
And then ask me again.
I know I should try and glean some information regarding the battle that lies ahead, but it doesn't seem right.
He speaks the truth. You hear a voice, an older female voice. We should be looking ahead at the battles to come. You recognize the voice as Blackwood.
I sort of turn just to acknowledge their presence.
You feel them staring at you, even without sight.
Blackwood. And I sort of just give a polite nod.
It is a pleasure to have you back in our ranks once more.
I'm happy to be back. And I'm pleased you're here too. I hope you've forgiven me. At least I asked for your forgiveness for what I did all those years ago.
It is not me who should be asking forgiveness. Sorry, it is not you who should be asking forgiveness. It is me. But it is not the time.
Please.
I will have that from you after. There are matters to discuss. Erin, lay out the map. And you feel the presence of a younger woman step forwards and unfurl sort of some papers onto a table. You recognize her scent as the girl that Varian attempted to train in the village, the one with black eyes.
Yeah.
And we will cut to Zook and Brutus. That was good. You both head towards the Glinting Kingdoms area, the Suncrests.
On the way there,
yes,
Zook is going to look up to the skies. I guess it's pretty overcast and rain and everything.
It's just like white sky, white ground, cold, but the rain is like ice.
He kind of feels the cold on his face and he breathes in the air. Well, this isn't going to do anything about morale. And he closes his eyes, and when he opens them again, they're pure white. And he pulls out some incense and he sparks it up. And he starts, as they're walking, he starts just like looking up to the sky, like chanting, like, and like just as they're walking, the skies start to clear and brighten. And I'm going to cast Control Weather
what kind of weather?
To change the skies. I'm going to increase the heat one level, so it's a nice cool temperature. And I'm going to eventually get it to clear skies with sunlight bathing the camp. For the entire camp.
The rain continues to fall for still some time as the clouds slowly begin to part, but the temperature does rise. You can see as beams of light come through and hit the kind of cold, wet clothing of the soldiers, it begins to slightly steam, like people are warming up, the water's evaporating off them. And you see people as begin sort of looking up, and some of them noticing you casting this, and a small crowd begins to kind of gather in the Miri camp of people watching. You hear people kind of pointing and say, "The Gypsies," and you hear people kind of calling, "The Gypsies return! The Gypsies return!" And it begins sort of making its way quite quickly through the camp.
Oh no! Were we meant to be a secret?
Yeah.
You see people kind of get up as you're walking past, standing up and looking at you both, and sort of nodding towards you. Younger, fresh faces, eager to see a glimpse of the Gypsies. Older faces, in their 40s or so. Some of the kind of more senior members were probably younger in Umiri when you left. A few probably trained by Ruthus in the courtyard, recognizing and sort of nodding towards you. You recognize some of their features as younger recruits that you would have trained in the Mirial even. You head towards the Suncrest camp, and you're greeted by a couple of guards. But upon seeing Ruthus, they seemingly recognize these two young forest gnomes, sprightly, and step apart without a word. You enter the camp, and it's a similar state of cold, and the people here don't, or at least the Suncrests, wouldn't cope particularly well with like serious cold, as then their lands aren't particularly cold in the winters. And maybe there's a bit of snow occasionally, but it's certainly not in this kind of temperatures. But the sun coming out seems to brighten them, and as you enter the camp, people look up, and you hear a couple of them saying some prayers as you both enter. People pointing. Look, as you kind of float on in.
As we're walking in, if we see anyone that's particularly just a bit disheartened looking, or they look particularly cold or wet, as we walk past, I'll put a hand on their shoulder, saying a reassuring word, but secretly casting Presti to dry them.
Sort of almost patting them down a little, shaking some hands. People seem to, people stand up and kind of almost come to attention as they see you. The tent flap of a larger tent opens, and striding out from it, you see a fierce, tall woman, jet black hair cascading down in a tight sort of tight braid behind her, a large shield on her back, scars across her face, very angular. You see a sort of older Yashar. She steps out of the tent. Ah, right. Suncrest.
I was wondering who I'd see here today.
Another figure steps out, sort of flanking, holding what appears to be like some documents, some like leather-bound, perhaps maps, perhaps plans. They seem to be heading somewhere. You see a figure probably in his early 40s, late 30s, stocky, tall, wearing the regalia of the Suncrests and of the Glinting Kingdom, but sort of more regal, slightly more lordly station. You recognise the kind of now slightly older face, bearded, with sort of really short, almost military hair, a helm under his arm. You recognise this as Wolf.
Who's Wolf again? He was Christoph's guy who you strapped up in the basement of
of Elwyn Tor.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah.
He sort of does a curt nod. Suncrest.
Both. I hope that we are welcome here.
Oh, of course. Times have changed. We all have. Yashar sort of smacks your arm a little and is like, it's good to have you.
So it is. We have only a few hours before the War Council convenes. Tell us how we can be of use.
She sort of looks around. Well, the men are cold, and Sister didn't provide us with quite enough warm clothing. She's well, by the way, Celeste.
Good.
And
I'd
that
heard.
Toad, Christoph. They had a few more children. You'll have to see them.
Has he stepped up?
No. No, not at all. But she has. Certainly. She's no fighter, though. The morale would be better if she was here. But looks like it's just me and Wolf.
What about the people of
me.
Soulreach? How do they fare?
They prosper. Ever since the Empire fell, we managed to claim a lot of land. And, with the Blackwood fortune and some of the others falling in tow after you came and, shook things up. Was a whole kingdom now. We managed to claim pretty much that entire region. Should see
I cannot say how pleased I am that was the outcome. It's more than I could have hoped for. And then his expression turns to a more serious look. But now you must protect it. It will not be there if we fail here.
It certainly won't. We were just headed to talk with, to see if we could get an audience with someone. We got some plans, or some ideas at least.
With Fleet, I would suggest you wouldn't. He seems burdened, troubled. How has he been these last days, weeks?
Not great. Stayed in his tent for quite a bit. But he's always there when there's a fight, leading the men. He seems to shoulder that burden quite hard.
He does. You can see the effect on him. It's wearing him down.
We're actually headed to see Rethgwad, the Brynshanda banner. She has some intelligence we want to share, or hope to gain some of it. Look, if we go into this war council with more of a plan, I don't know, we can be more persuasive. It's a bit of a free-for-all in there. Everyone calling out the shots, what they think's best. All we don't want is for them, dwarves, to have their way. Foolhardy.
From Thaldarel?
Yeah, that's right.
What do they want? Wait, are we here? Sorry.
No, it's just Rufus and Zook.
Sorry.
Dutch is so keen, he's like, what?
says Zook and Rufus.
I'm not exactly sure what they want. But I don't trust that direct fella. Nothing to do with race, mind. But I've never met a kind drow before.
You haven't seen any individuals from a certain company, have you? They bear the sigil of a silver coin with a dagger on it. The Silvermark Brotherhood.
No, I haven't seen that.
Thank you.
There's
good
quite
to
a
know.
few dwarven banners. Oh,
I would have you tell me of the morale amongst your fighters.
it could be better. She sort of looks around the camp a little bit. We've been here a while, and the men are cold, and they're tired, and we're a long way from home. Further away than most of the others.
Are they still up for it? Do they have fight in them?
They better be. She looks around angrily.
If they lose their spirit, then it doesn't matter what plans you have.
Well, they know the cost of failure. That will push them through.
Then tell us again, how can we be of help?
Perhaps accompany us. I know that you can be persuasive. Maybe more persuasive than I. Or both here.
Very well. Lead the way.
You head on and out of the camp.
I'm going to crank the heat up again to warm for, just FYI, a radius of 5 miles.
Amazing. Dutch, as you're sitting there with the old one-eye of Grumpsh, the sun begins to break and come out and shine down. You see her look up and sort of look towards you.
See, if you believe in omens, that could only be good.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Where is the sun? Is it in our eyes or on our backs?
Facing north.
Like if we're looking at the spire where we're going to be marching towards.
It would be. It's at the moment. It's sort of in your eyes.
Okay.
But as the day goes on, it would likely move over.
Oh, that's good.
There are more here. More here that you know.
What, more than you?
You would see them.
Yeah, okay.
She turns and sort of points towards, back towards like the camp, but off to the side. And you can see faintly from this angle outside the camp what looks to be one of the like tower structures, the wooden like watchtowers. But it's like covered in what appears to be like greenery, all kind of arching and reaching up towards it. She nods and points you over in that direction.
Yeah, I'll go over there. I'll bid her good fortunes and a beautiful sky.
She catches your hand before you go. She closes her eyes. Is there anything you would ask? Ask of them.
Victory.
Anything you would wish to know?
How do we kill him?
It is too specific.
Go on then, good or bad fortune, woe or weal.
She closes her eyes. It is neither.
Well, it's going to be death either way, isn't it?
She turns. You head around the camp towards this tower fortification. This looks to be a watchtower that's kind of overgrown. As you approach it, it's on the inside of kind of the struts. It's all thick with kind of brambles and sort of gnarled-looking roots that have all sort of grown up. You can see no people attached to it, but as you approach, something drops sort of out, maybe 5 foot up onto the ground, part of the sort of tree or foliage breaking away and hitting the ground, and a small spear jabs up towards you. And you see a small woodwode standing there with a spear.
Yeah.
Nice.
It looks kind of like a little green, a little bendy around the edges.
Yeah. He's a little babby.
A little sapling.
It has like a little like twinned leaf bit on its head. Yeah. And it's not like hardened bark, it's like a bit malleable, kind of fresh.
Yeah.
It jabs at you to move away.
And I'm going to knock on the door.
There is no door, but you bang on the sort of like wood, and you hear it hollow. It sort of jabs at you, but it's the weapon it's got is like just a green wood stick, and it bends sort of at you. You see a couple of faces where you knocked just appear in the sort of walls of the tree. And it seems to like jiggle around, and you see it retract in, and a large sort of hand pulls the woodwode aside, and you are face to face with Thiazi.
Oh fuck!
Hello, Dutch. Come on in. He sort of pushes it aside and grabs you and pulls you in. It is warm. It's like really warm on the inside. He immediately takes all the woodwodes and shoves them in place, and they sort of meld back into the wall. You're sitting in like a very small interior wooden chamber made of woodwodes around him, similar to that when the great fire beast from the realm of fire came out, and like the woodwodes sort of formed around and protected him. It's cold outside. You're letting it in. He sort of pushes it up against the side. He kind of moves around. It's like it smells in there, but it's really warm. It's sort of like eye-wateringly stanky, but blissfully warm.
It's a definite stank.
He picks up what looks to be some kind of small kind of wooden vessel and hands it over. Drink this.
Thank you.
You go to drink and have to like
Oh, is
tip
it the
the
syrup
sap,
again?
the sap out slowly, drips out. He kind of scoop. You see Thiazi kind of scoop out, almost like Winnie the Pooh, like honey, like eating it there. So you have all returned.
Yeah, it's nice to see so many, well, familiar faces. Really, I know it's only been a couple of days for us, but you know, it's everyone together, isn't it? It's a nice thing. It's a war, which is awful. But we're together, so it could be shitter, right?
Lots of people together. All here for you. All here for the Gypsies. And the Actors of Air. The air brings those together from the different sides of the world. And I will be fighting here. The young druid of the Miri. He predicted it. He knew that you would return. And so we gathered here. He was persuasive. Oh, there is another here. One I do not get along with.
Who's that?
Bull-headed, horns, similar face to mine.
Oh, from the church.
Church? I don't know what that is.
What's his name? Father Aureus, Minotaur, Bullman.
Yes.
Why don't you like him?
Well, he is like me, but not at all. He speaks in strange riddles all the time. And above that, he is not one of the forest. He is a beast. He belongs to the woods, to the earth, to the rock. But instead, he shelters under the canopy of dead animals.
Yeah, but everyone's different, isn't they? Like, we're sort of the same. Because, you know, you can be an orc sometimes, but then sometimes you're a cat, and I'm a bit of something else anyway. So everyone's different.
He cocks his head. I do not become an orc.
What?
You have been drinking too much sap. It was
Wait.
the old Arcturid of Fire, Zazi, who was an orc. I am a
Do it all look the
Minotaur,
same?
as you say.
Yeah, you're the one of the earth. Yeah, I know that. Look,
I can become many beasts, but my favorite is the Auroch. Sounds like orc. Perhaps you misheard it.
I mean, yeah. Fuck you, Games Workshop.
He takes your arm and begins sort of looking at your hand and the new tattoo that's been placed on it. Yeah. Well, these are nice. It is not healing well. He takes some of the sap and his big cow tongue sort of licks it, begins pressing it in. It will soothe it. Your hands. He looks sort of turning them over. You see they're like always like covered in blisters and knuckles. You feel him pass a hand over it, and you watch as the tissue begins to slowly sort of knit up and become sort of scar tissue beneath his hand. It's better.
Thanks. To be fair, I don't know why I never bothered asking Zook to do that.
Yeah, he is busy.
Always busy.
Indeed.
How have you been? What's going on?
I have had a child. But my child is grown now.
Where is it? Where are they?
At High Canopy.
Safe. Good. With Bellum Kanda?
Indeed. She is there too.
Perfect.
So, we are fighting this day. I will be attending this war council, but I might need a friendly face there to explain things to me. I do not think it is going to be like the Congregation of the Moon on the top of High Canopy.
No, there'll be a lot more shouting.
More shouting. Yeah. He just sort of shakes his head.
The problem is there's only two people we really want to listen to. And they're both in the Gypsies of Fortune, unfortunately.
Well,
You're going to listen to Zook, and the rest of us will probably listen to a mix of Zook and Rufus. Rufus is passionate, Zook is sometimes balanced.
and taking your hand, they are both connected with the tree and with the Aeocene.
Exactly.
We cut, because I know it's 15:15. I'll end it on a little cool moment. Rufus and Zook, you walk with both Volf and Yashar towards the banner, the Bryn Shander banner, which is the crescent moon with the sort of eagle's wings. But on your way, you notice a smaller banner outside of the Suncrest's area, just sort of, in fact, sorry, not outside, within, but like one of the minor houses, the banners. You see what looks to be a crown of sort of brambly thorns with like the crescent sort of sun in the middle of them. It's Rufus. It's not one that you've seen before. You've never seen that banner. You can see the banner flying of the Blackfriars, because obviously Yashar is still technically the main of House Blackfriar.
So I can't do a history knowledge check of this new banner.
You can't, because you've never seen it before. It's like a sort of orange, an orange field with a brambly banner, a brambly crown with a sun. And as you get closer, you notice almost like two blue gems encrusted into that kind of thorn crown.
Do I recognise it?
Roll me a history check.
That is a 14.
You do not.
We lean into Yasha as we walk. Whose heraldry is that there? I do not recognize it. Is it new?
She goes to explain, and then Let's take a quick detour. She leads you off sort of towards the banner. A couple of guards kind of greet you as you enter that area, and you can see a small like sort of cooking fire with a few people sitting around it. The thing you notice immediately is the giant wolf that's sort of curled up near the fire, sitting there. A slender figure with a large hood, sort of green hood, covering their face, sits whittling at something with a knife. On the other side of the fire, a simple man in simple leathers, into his sort of like late 40s, maybe even 50s, leathered sort of skin of his face, and a beard that kind of points down. He turns and his eyes flash towards you of a brilliant white blue to his eyes. And sitting across the fire on the other side, a man in gleaming plate, a spear slung across his back, golden hair cascading down in sort of ringlets around, a fine sort of like heavy on this area beard. I don't know what that's called. You know, and the moustache is prominent, but it is also a beard.
Yeah.
It's like a golden beard about this length. You recognise this as Jasper Braithorn,
Motherfucker.
Blue Eyes Reuben, and Yenlith. And we will end the session there.
Oh shit! Damn, they're back in.
Cool, because then we get to have a Richter for the shouting.
Who is that reminding me of? That there's like, oh, you know who has that beard is
the captain dude in fucking the cartoon.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah,
the captain in the cartoon.
Yeah, so the captain.
Vox Machina, the first episode.
Yes, yeah. It's like a really cut straight one at the bottom, but with a full beard.
You can't see his mouth until he opens it.
Yeah. It's David Tennant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's David Tennant. It's like David Tennant doing a Scottish accent, but like almost over the top. Like it doesn't. Like when I listened to it first without knowing it was him, I was like, "Oh, that's a bad Scottish accent."
Yeah, like this guy isn't British.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's funny. Yeah, they're all fucking here. They're all here, everyone.
Oh,
let's go!
All here.
Oh my god, it's all coming together.
Can't wait to see what redemption has done to him.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, like wasn't he like in the early days? He was like beating on his team members, on his group.
He was a bad guy, and then you like had that fight with him and chose.
Oh, of course,
not to kill him. And then when you went to Soul Reach, you and the brothers Grey went and found them, and
excursion.
That was fun. They were going under the name of the Seers. As like a bandit organization trying to take down Silvermark, like caravans and stuff.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Yeah, and then when the Empire fell, they're clearly a bannermen of the Suncrests.
Great,
which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's all you guys is doing. The world lives.
Yeah, all the choices that were made.
I love it. It was really fun, like for me to go through and like see what shit is going on. It also means that Richter, hopefully Aiden will be here next time and he can do his bit with Dawn's Blade as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Oh, I'm excited. It's great.
It's so hyped. Like the whole environment is just fucking charged.
There are literally like hundreds of characters with their own names and their own accents. Like I've definitely like just messed up people's voices. I'm like, I can't remember what their voice was, but I'll go with this now.
Hey, they've aged 20 years. They'll be different.
They've aged. Who knows?
They emigrated to Cornwall and now they're Cornish.
I'm like, Moran's is a man, and then you immediately say like,
she. There's too many. There's too many fucking.
I know.
Moran's are they them anyway?
Yeah, technically, but they are a man, an
Like
AFAB person.
Yeah.
No, an AMAB, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, so, yeah.
But like
Yeah.
a very androgynous man, basically.
Yeah.
I
Think like if David Bowie was a tiefling. That's my like.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
yeah. Sexy twink
Yeah.
tiefling man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they have the cod piece like in Labyrinth?
I hope so.
I feel like tieflings all have like codpiece armor.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a tiefling thing. Yeah.
I really enjoyed Dutch meeting with the Azzy rather than Zoot. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
that was great.
They're quite alike.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but like in different ways, like from the streets and from the countryside.
Yeah.
But both lads like meeting. They're like we're the
Yeah.
same but
Both
different.
like Hardy of head, essentially.
Yeah.
Hardy
Yeah,
of
yeah.
head.
Well, Dutch's brain is fucking fried, I imagine.
He was
So
shrooming
many
it
punches
last
to
night,
the
so
head.
wasn't he?
That's the best orc way to prepare for battle.
I loved. So this is now a whole sort of backstory thing where Dutch actually didn't realise that Thiazi and Zazie
We're different
were
people. Did we
We'd have a
kill,
minor
did we
degree
kill
wisdom
you?
at the time.
Did we
Yeah.
kill you?
It
He's
just,
like, they just keep changing shape.
Yeah, but we changed his mind. He was bad, and then we changed his mind, and he turned back into a Minotaur.
I
That's
thought you were in a big bonfire.
Oh my god.
So good. I guess maybe they were just never in the same place when Dutch was with them. Like, he
So-
only
so
ever
you
saw
deduce
one.
they're the
assume
same.
They're the same, but they're the same. They're all archdruids.
All druids look the
They're all
same.
pixies.
It's all pixie magic.
So speaking of pixie magic, I have messaged Rolo to tell him about the live session. So hopefully, I think you should all message him too, and that way.
Should we message him now?
Yeah, like all message him saying next Friday in Hove.
We put him on the
It's all-
DD
He's got
chat.
2 kids now, right? Maybe we shouldn't pressure him too
Well, I
much.
feel like he'll want to because he has 2 kids, you know.
Yeah. I feel,
Should we just at him on the D&D chat?
just I'm just gonna full caps him saying next Friday, no pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure, Gosnell's on you.
Put all the Shivra you want to kill.
Yeah.
Oh my
Fresh
God,
for the
I can't
slaying.
wait. Oh, yeah. Where are we doing it at yours, Josh?
Yeah, we probably can do.
That would be
Yeah,
good.
because you wanna set up a bit earlier, right?
Yeah, because I should come around with the like microphones and stuff.
I'm done from 4. Like I finish at 4 now, so it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just double check with Imogen.
Are you going to
That
gym
should
before
be good.
D&D, Theo?
Maybe, I don't know. Probably won't have time.
What, between 4 and 6?
Yeah, but I'll get home, make dinner.
Yeah, you got dinner and getting around.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have dinner at D&D, aren't we? I thought we were going to get a big order.
Potential. I'll probs prep some food, but I mean, really.
there is the
That
other
wasn't-
option of we can do it here because if Aiden's not coming, it doesn't matter that we're doing it in Hove or not.
Yeah.
Which
If I can get a lift with Theo, then yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I probably won't be drinking, so
because we'd have enough chairs and probably more room, and I wouldn't need to move any of the stuff.
The one thing that would be cool
Still
about
on
that is
screen.
we do it around the original table.
The original
That we've always-
table.
Mm.
That would be
It
good.
has
be
a
good.
feeling.
I can fit a few people in the cart. At least 3.
'Cause
Tashi, have you turned the stream off?
No, I haven't. But thanks for watching. We'll try and set it up. Yeah, because actually, if we do it here, we can stream it.
Is there
we
anyone
can
there?
stream it properly with the cameras.
Yeah.
Mm.
Set up.
Anyway, yeah. All right. Thanks for
I
watching.
better go
everyone.
as well.